in our country. They're a very dangerous development. It's like a mafia state where, you're not sure of yourself. You see young people being abducted. They even have video clips by people who are so confident. They look like police officers in civilian clothes, but they really know exactly what they're doing. And they're taking people to unknown destinations and keeping them and torturing them from the revelations of those who have been released. And they have handcuffs. The people being handcuffed. Handcuffs are not goods that you can go to a supermarket and buy. Handcuffs are special at times. They're only bought by the state. Ordinary civilians cannot have handcuffs.
And yet the IG of police, Douglas Kanja, the Inspector General of Police, say these are not our people.
Tell me, who are these people who have got handcuffs and come and have got the confidence to abduct somebody in the presence of people, and police officer is doing anything against them? What they used to, the gang of General Papadoc de Valier, they were called Tom Tom Makut, who used to abduct people and take them and torture them. So this is like the Tom Tom Makut of Papadoc. This is a state of gangsters. Gangsterism is not something that we can tolerate in our country.
And you are a victim. You have been tortured before. And some of these people who've actually gone through this, it has really affected them. Some were even crying, and some were saying that their lives will never be the same again.
Yes, in our days there, they used to arrest people. They would then put you into a vehicle, they would blindfold you, they would run around with you. You end up in the dungeons there in the Nyayo house, where they would put you in a waterlogged cell to freeze there overnight. And then you'll be taken, you'll be clobbered, your eyes will be tied, and then you'll be interrogated, and they extract confession from you. And then once you've confessed, then you're taken to court in the evening. And then you are sentenced at that time. Now, we thought that those era was gone.
The infamous Nyayo torture chambers.
I spent 2 weeks there, but some people spent even months in the Nyayo torture chambers. So I'm a graduate of that, and I don't want this to come back again. I don't want to see people being molested merely because they hold a different opinion from you. See, democracy is that people are free to think, to conceive ideas which not only necessarily conform to the thinking of the regime. Now, this animal that has come called social media, it's a new animal, but it is challenging all governments across the world. You just need to find a way of dealing with it, because these are realities of technological evolution. So we must embrace them and see how we can live in an orderly society.
Okay. Even as we went up, Mr. Odnga, we recently saw a development from Gatundu. We saw, in as much as you're not the appointing authority in terms of cabinet nomination, but we did see a handshake between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and the current President William Ruto. What is your take on that?
Well, that me, I mean, Uhuru is a former president, Ruto is a former vice president. They were in government until the election day. And Kenyans know exactly what happened on the with the elections, and they had been working in the same government until the last time, and Uhuru went to the swearing-in ceremony and handed over power to Ruto. So
they were also at odds in the build-up to the 2022 election, and which was, you can argue, was fueled by Uhuru Kenyatta's handshake with you.
what I'm saying is, we never had a handshake with Uhuru. People just said handshake. Like, I've never had any handshake with Ruto. People actually misconceive this as the word of handshake. A handshake I had with Kibaki, and then this one had a handshake, with Uhuru when we agreed and we signed that accord, to which ended up with production of the report. But then we went public in front of office of the president, and we did a handshake formally with Uhuru, like we had done with Kibaki. We did a handshake. I've not had any handshake with Ruto because we have not agreed on a written document. Okay. Uhuru just greeted Ruto. They never said that this is a handshake, that they are going to work together. That has not been the case.
But later on, we saw a nomination of cabinet secretaries which had names of perceived allies of the former head of state.
Well, Ruto had said that he wanted to form a government that was representative of the rest of the country. And he had started when he got some people from ODM. And now he got people from Jubilee and so on. And that itself is not a handshake. It's just burdening his government. Okay? But that if there's any handshake, it will be on the basis of things which have been negotiated and agreed on. And then it will be announced formally that we have now come to an agreement. This is what we are going to implement.
There are issues that have affected Kenyans. We're talking about issues that pain the pay slip, we're talking about deductions. There is the SHIF, the social health insurance, you have the affordable housing. It's really been a challenge for Kenyans to get more income. Their income instead is shrinking as a result of taxation. As Kenyans go into the new year, what do you want to tell them about the perceived high cost of living and what the future holds for them?
Well, see, the government has got a responsibility to make life easier for the population. At the same time, the government has also a responsibility to initiate certain projects which makes the life easier for the people and creates wealth for the nation. So it is a challenge all the times, inflicting pain on the people and making it easier also for the people at the same time. So I would ask the government to basically take a very comprehensive look at what is happening because people have been hurting. The cost of living has been very high. There are ways in which you can ease it, but also still be able to get sufficient revenue that you require for to be able to provide certain services to the country. We are in this situation not for the first time. We have been in this situation before. I remember when we came to power after many years of Kanu rule, we had similar challenges. And we sat down with then late President Kibaki and came up with a solution, way forward. You know, we had promised in our campaign that we are going to introduce free primary education in the country. And in spite of serious challenges facing us at that time, we introduced free primary education. And we found wastages which were there in terms of revenue collection and also in terms of procurement, which were highly inflated. Basically, the animal called corruption. And we dealt with that animal called corruption. If you can deal with that issue of corruption, there is enough money. There will be enough money in the country because there's a lot of wastage of public resources. So you don't need to overtax the people to raise revenue.
As we went up, do you still believe Adani was a good deal?
Certainly, you know, people need to understand this, that, you see, the government cannot finance development projects on the basis of taxation. It's not just sustainable at all. What other governments are doing at attracting private sector into some of these development projects. What Mr. Modi has done in India. See, in 10 years, Modi has moved India's economy from the 10th largest economy in the world to the 5th largest economy. He now intends to take it to the 3rd largest economy. It's only Germany and Japan which are ahead of it. But in about 5 years' time, India will be the 3rd largest economy in the world. He has built in that period 132,000 kilometers of railway line through PPP. You see, highways have been built across India. Ports have been built across India. Airports have been built across India through public-private partnerships. You see, and that is what is happening also in Dubai. So I'm saying, you're talking about Adani, go to Ahmedabad town, look at the airport in Ahmedabad. Go to New Delhi, look at the airport in New Delhi. All those projects, go to a town called Mundra, where they built a complete new port, and they built an airport, and they built a power plant, 4,900 megawatts of power. A village that was a sleeping village of 5,000 people has shot up to be a town of 500, half a million people, because industries have come into that town. You see, the charges against Adani are because of competition in India for projects. That's why Adani is being charged in America about evading taxes here, or doing this and that here. Those are basically commercial.
Yes, it's witch hunt.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, Adani, that is an Indian conglomerate. It works for the Indian government even today. So you see, there was just misconception and vested commercial interests which are competing. And that's why Adani finds himself in that kind of situation. I have no regrets because I know myself for fact what has happened, the reality, where the reality is.
Thank you so much. The reality is we can always have this conversation, but this is where we end this exclusive interview with Right Honorable Raila Odnga on his 2024 reflection and what he plans for the year ahead, that is 2025. Top of his agenda, of course, is his Africa Union Commission chairperson bid, which will be determined in an election in February in Addis Ababa. Thank you so much for watching.
Tumekuwa kipaumbele kudadavua taarifa za kutwa kila siku kwenye Open Forum Political Show. Tangu Januari, sasa Disemba tunayo. Tunachukua nafasi ya kipekee kusema asante mtazamaji na mpenzi wa kipindi cha Open Forum Political Show na Sound Candid Talk. Unaposherehekea sikukuu ya Christmas na mwaka mpya, tunakuahidi mema zaidi. Sound Candid Talk, we wish you Merry Christmas and Happy 2025. Watu wa Mungu, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Candid Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Sound Candid Talk. Je, una maoni, malalamishi au kauli kinzani? Tunakusikiliza kwa maana wewe unatutazama. Wasiliana nasi kwenye simu 0718454585 au andika ujumbe mfupi katika barua pepe soundcandidtalk@gmail.com.
Christmas.